Revealed. The real reason why Mr. Lee and the manager are always with BTS. No one noticed it at first. Or perhaps everyone noticed, but no one dared to ask the question out loud. Wherever V of BTS goes, airport, fashion show, private schedule, overseas trip, or even moments that seem casual and unplanned, two figures are almost always there. One walks slightly ahead, eyes scanning every direction. The other stays close, calm but alert, always ready to step in. Fans know them well. ARMY has seen them countless times in fan cams, photos, blurry airport videos, and viral clips. Mr. Lee and the manager, for years, their presence beside BTS has sparked endless curiosity, theories, debates, and whispers across social media. Why are they always there? Why does V seem so protected compared to others? Why does Mr. Lee, in particular, never leave his side, even in moments that appear private or low risk? Now, the truth is finally coming into focus, and it's far more complex, emotional, and shocking than anyone expected. This is not just a story about security. This is not just about fame. This is a story about responsibility, pressure, trust, invisible threats, and the hidden cost of being one of the most influential artists on the planet. And once you understand the real reason, you will never see BTS or the people walking beside him the same way again. From the moment Taehyung stepped into the global spotlight, the world changed around him. What began as a journey of 7 young men chasing a dream quickly transformed into a phenomenon that redefined music, culture, and celebrity itself. As BTS grew, so did the attention. The admiration was overwhelming. But admiration has another side, one that few people ever talk about openly. For V, the attention was not only intense, it was deeply personal. His visuals, his charisma, his emotional expressiveness, and his unpredictable charm made him stand out even within BTS. Fans didn't just love him, they felt connected to him. And while that connection was beautiful, it also created risks that most people never consider. Behind the smiles, behind the waving hands at the airport, behind the perfectly styled outfits, there was a growing concern inside the company. Because V wasn't just an idol anymore. He was a symbol, a global figure whose presence could cause chaos without warning. This is where Mr. Lee enters the story to many fans. Mr. Lee is simply the bodyguard. Tall, serious, calm, always dressed in black, always alert. But that description barely scratches the surface of who he really is, or why he is always beside Mr. Lee is not an ordinary security guard. According to industry insiders, he was carefully selected after a series of internal discussions that followed several unsettling incidents. Incidents that were never officially released to the public. There were moments at airports where crowds surged unexpectedly, breaking security lines. There were situations where fans attempted to get dangerously close, ignoring barriers, staff warnings, and even physical safety. There were also anonymous threats, messages that never reached the news, but reached the company. None of these were random. And none of them were taken lightly. V's popularity skyrocketed. So did the unpredictability of his environment. Every public appearance became a calculated risk. Every overseas trip required detailed planning. Every unscheduled movement could turn into chaos within seconds. Mr. Lee's role was not just to react, but to prevent. What makes Mr. Lee different is not his strength, but his instincts. He doesn't just walk beside V, he reads the room. He watches hands, eyes, movements. He senses shifts in crowd energy before anything happens. And when he moves, it's already too late for danger to get close. But here's what fans didn't know for years. Mr. Lee was not assigned randomly. V himself requested a specific type of protection after several emotionally exhausting incidents, some involving invasions of personal space, others involving extreme fan behavior. V reportedly expressed discomfort and anxiety about certain public situations. Not fear, not panic, but awareness. A quiet understanding that the world around him had changed permanently. He didn't want distance from fans. He didn't want walls. What he wanted was safety without separation. Mr. Lee became that solution. Their relationship quickly evolved beyond professional obligation. Trust formed, not through words, but through consistency. Mr. Lee learned V's pace, his habits, his reactions. He knew when V needed space and when he needed support. He knew when to step in and when to stay invisible. That kind of synchronization cannot be forced. It can only be built. But Mr. Lee is only one part of the equation. The manager's constant presence adds another layer, one that goes far deeper than scheduling and logistics. Managers in the idol industry often operate quietly in the background. They coordinate flights, manage timelines, handle communication, and ensure everything runs smoothly. But V's manager plays a far more complex role. The V is known for his artistic unpredictability. His creativity does not follow rules or schedules. His emotions run deep. His sensitivity, which fans adore, also means he feels pressure more intensely than most people realize. The manager is not just managing events. He is managing balance. There have been times when V's schedule was adjusted at the last minute, not because of logistics, but because of mental and emotional well-being. There have been moments when interviews were shortened, appearances modified, or routes changed quietly to protect him from overload. And fans never noticed, because that is the manager's job, to make sure the world never sees the cracks. But why are they always together? Even in moments that seem unnecessary, because unpredictability doesn't announce itself. 1 second of distraction can lead to irreversible consequences. And when you are BTS, the margin for error is zeroed. There is also a darker truth, one that fans rarely want to confront. Not all attention is harmless. As V's influence grew, so did the number of people who wanted something from him. Photos, words, proof of closeness, validation. Some crossed lines that should never be crossed. The company learned this the hard way. There were attempts to follow private vehicles. There were leaks of travel information. There were individuals who believed that being a fan gave them ownership. Each incident reinforced the same conclusion. V needed consistent, trusted protection, not rotating staff, not unfamiliar faces, not temporary assignments. Mr. Lee and the manager became constants in a world that was constantly changing. But here is the most emotional part of this story, the part no one expected. V trusts them. In an industry where trust is rare, that trust is everything. When V walks through an airport surrounded by screaming fans, flashing cameras, and chaos, he doesn't look around in fear. He looks forward, because he knows someone is watching his back. When he smiles at fans, he doesn't have to calculate risk, because someone else already has. That freedom, the ability to be himself in a dangerous environment, is the real reason they are always there. This is not about control. This is about protection that allows authenticity. Fans often joke about Mr. Lee being the main character or the silent hero. But behind the humor is a truth that deserves respect. Without people like him, moments fans cherish might never exist. There's also a reason why Mr. Lee and the manager rarely show emotion in public. They cannot afford to. Their calm is intentional. Their silence is discipline. Every step they take is measured, and V knows it. That is why, in rare candid moments, fans have seen V glance back, smile subtly, or adjust his pace to match theirs. Those are not accidents. Those are signs of comfort, signs of reliance, signs of a bond formed under pressure. As BTS members pursue solo paths alongside group activities, responsibilities shift, risks change, attention becomes more concentrated. For V, whose solo activities often draw massive crowds and intense media focus, the need for stable protection increases, not decreases. This is why Mr. Lee and the manager remain by his side even now, because fame does not slow down. If anything, it becomes heavier. There are rumors that V has refused certain schedules unless specific staff members were present, not out of entitlement, but out of experience. He knows what happens when protection is inconsistent. And he knows what works. What fans see as always together is actually the result of years of learning, mistakes, corrections, and silent agreements. This is the reality behind the image. And perhaps the most powerful truth of all is this. V is not protected because he is weak, that he is protected because he is human.